It's exactly a year ago today since Father died, isn't it? This very day. Your Saint's Day, Irina. I remember it was very cold and it was snowing. I thought then that I should never survive his death, and now a year's gone by and we talk about it so easily. Clock struck 12 then, too. Remember when Father was being taken to the cemetery, there was a military band and a rifle salute because he was a general. Yet there weren't many people at the funeral. Of course, it was snowing.
Why all these memories?
Oh, it's so warm today, we can keep the windows wide open. Yet there aren't many leaves on the trees. His father was made a general 11 years ago, and then we left Moscow. Oh, I remember so well how everything in Moscow was in blossom by now. Everything soaked in sunlight and warmth. 11 years. Yet I remember everything as if it was yesterday. When I woke up this morning, I felt such a longing to get back home, to Moscow.
The devil you have.
Nonsense, I agree.
Oh, Masha, do stop whistling. How can you? I suppose I get this continuous headache because I have to teach every day at the school right through until the evening. Honestly, I've been feeling as if my strength and youth were running out of me, drop by drop.
If only we could go back to Moscow. Sell the house and give up with our living here and go back.
Yes, to Moscow as soon as possible.
I suppose Andrei will get his professorship soon. Then he won't go on living here. The only problem is our poor Masha.
Masha can come and stay with us the whole summer every year in Moscow.
Everything will settle itself with God's help. Lovely weather. Really, I don't know why there's such joy in my heart. I woke up this morning and I remembered it was my Saint's Day and I felt so happy. And I thought of the time when we were children and Mother was still alive.
You look lovely today. Really, most attractive. Masha looks pretty today, too. Andrei could be good looking, but he's grown so stout it doesn't suit him. As for me, I've aged and grown a lot thinner. I suppose it's getting so irritated with those girls at school. I'm only 28, after all. I suppose everything that God wills must be right and good, but I can't help thinking sometimes that if I'd married and stayed at home, things would have been a lot better for me. I should have been very fond of my husband.
Really, you talk such a lot of nonsense, I'm tired of listening to you. Oh, I forgot to tell you. Vershinin, our new battery commander, is going to call on you today.
Oh, good, I'm glad.
Is he old?
No, not particularly. 40. Seems quite a nice fellow. Certainly not a fool. His only weakness is that he talks too much.
Is he interesting?
That's all right. He's got a wife and a mother-in-law and 2 little girls. And what's more, it's his second wife. He goes around telling everybody that he's got a wife and 2 little girls. Well, he'll tell you about it too, I'm sure of that. The wife seems to be a little soft in the head. She often tries to commit suicide. Apparently just to annoy him.
Now, I can only lift 60 pounds with one hand, but with 2 hands I can lift 200 pounds, or even sometimes 240. Therefore, I conclude from that 2 men are not only twice as strong as one man, but 3 times as strong, sometimes even more.
Well, here's a recipe for falling hair. 2 ounces of naphthalene, half a bottle of methylated spirits. Dissolve and apply once a day.
Doctor, dear doctor.
What is it, my child? What is it?
Tell me why I'm so happy today. Just as if I were sailing along in a boat with big white sails, and above me the wide blue sky, and in the sky great white birds floating out.
My little white bird.
You know, after I woke up this morning and when I got dressed, I suddenly felt as if everything in the world had suddenly become clear to me. And I knew the way I ought to live. Man must work by the sweat of his brow, whatever his class. And that should make up the whole meaning and purpose of his life and happiness. Oh, how good it must be to be a workman, getting up with the sun, breaking the stones by the roadside. Or a school teacher, teaching the children. Oh, good heavens, it is better to be an ox or a horse. And work. Than the sort of young woman who wakes up at 12, drinks her coffee in bed, and then takes 2 hours dressing.
Father always taught us to get up at 7, so Irene always wakes at 7, but then she stays in bed till at least 9, thinking about something or other, and with such a serious expression on her face, too.
You think it's strange when I look serious because you always think of me as a little girl. I'm 20, you know.
All this talk of work, heavens, how well I can understand it. I've never done a stroke of work in my life. I was born in Petersburg, an unfriendly, idle city, born into a family where work and worries were simply unknown. I remember a valet pulling off my boots for me when I came home from the cadet school. I grumbled at the way he did it, and my mother looked on in admiration. She was quite surprised if other people looked at me in any other way. I was so carefully protected from work. But the time is coming. A terrific thundercloud is advancing upon us. A mighty storm is coming to freshen us up. And it will blow away all this idleness and indifference and prejudice against work, this rot of boredom that our society is suffering from. I'm going to work. In 25 or 30 years' time, every man and woman will be working. Every one of us.
Well, I'm not going to work.
Well, you don't count.
In 25 years' time, you won't be alive, thank goodness. In a couple of years, you'll die of a stroke. Or I shall lose my temper with you and put a bullet through your head, my dear chap.
It's quite true. I haven't done a stroke of work since I left university. Haven't even read a book or any newspapers. Here, for instance, I know from this paper that there was a person called Briolov, but who or what he was, I haven't the faintest idea. God alone knows. Ah, they're calling for me to come down. Somebody has come to see me. I'll be back in a moment.
He's up to one of his little games.
Obviously going to give you a present.
Oh, I do dislike this sort of thing.
Yes, isn't it dreadful? He's always doing something silly.
A green oak grows by a curving shore. Around that oak hangs a golden chain.
You're sad today, Marcia? Where are you going?
Home.
What? Going away from your sister's party?
What does it matter? I'll be back this evening. Goodbye, my darling. Once again, I wish you all the happiness in the world. In the old days, when Father was alive, we used to have 30 or 40 officers at our parties. What gay parties they were. And today, what have we got today? A man and a half. And the place is as quiet as a tomb. I'm depressed today. I'm sad. I'm going home, so don't listen to me.
I understand you, Marcia.
Do stop snivelling.
Come along, my dear. This way. Come in. Your boots are quite clean. A cake from Protopopov at the council office.
Thank you. Tell him I'm grateful to him.
What's that?
Tell him I sent my thanks.
Give him some pie, Nanny. Go along, Ferapont. They'll give you some pie.
What's that?
Come along with me, Ferapont, my dear. Come along. That's right. There.
I don't like that Protopopov fellow. Mikhail Ivanich Potapich, whatever they call him. It's best not to invite him here.
I haven't invited him.
Thank goodness.
A samovar, but this is dreadful.
Dear Doctor, what on earth were you thinking about?
Did I tell you?
Ivan Romanich, you ought to be ashamed of yourself.
My dear sweet girl. I've no one in the world but you. I'm an old man. A lonely, utterly unimportant old man. The only thing that means anything to me is my love for you. If it weren't for you, I would have been dead long ago. Oh, sweet little girl. Haven't I known you since the day you were born? Didn't I carry you about in my arms? And I love you, dear mother.
Why do you buy such expensive presents?
Expensive presents. Oh, get along with you. Put the samovar over there. Expensive presents.
Dears, there's a strange colonel just arrived. He's taken off his coat and he's coming up now. Here, Inushka, do be nice and polite to him, won't you? And it's high time we had lunch, too. Oh, dear, oh, dear.
It's Vashinin, I suppose.
Allow me to introduce myself. Lieutenant Colonel Vershinin. I'm so glad, so very glad to be here at last. How you've changed, dear. Dear, how you've changed.
Please do sit down. We're very pleased to see you.
And I'm so glad to see you. So glad. But there were 3 of you, weren't there? I seem to remember there were 3 sisters. I don't remember their faces, but I knew your father, Colonel Prozorov. And I remember he had 3 little girls. How time flies. Dear, dear, how it flies.
And Vashinin comes from Moscow.
From Moscow? You come from Moscow?
Yes, from Moscow. Your father was a battery commander there when I was an officer in the same brigade. I seem to remember your face a little.
I don't remember you at all.
Oh, yeah, it seems Lieutenant Colonel Vershinin comes from Moscow.
You must be Olga, the eldest, and you are Maria, and you are Irina, the youngest.
You come from Moscow?
Yes. Yes, I studied in Moscow and entered the service there. I stayed there quite a long time, but then I was put in charge of a battery, so I moved out here, you see. I don't really remember you, you know. I just remember there were 3 sisters. I remember your father, though. Oh, I remember him very well. All I need do is close my eyes, and I can see him standing there as if he were alive. I used to visit you in Moscow.
I thought I remembered everybody.
My forename's Alexander Ignatievich.
Alexander Ignatievich, and you come from Moscow.
We're going to live there, you know.
Yes, we hope to be there by the autumn. It's our hometown. We were born there.
I remember. Do you remember, Olga? There was someone they used to call the lovesick major.
Oh, no.
You were a lieutenant then, and you were in love with someone or other, and everyone used to tease you about it. They called you Major for some reason or other.
That's it, the lovesick major. That's what they called me.
You didn't have a moustache then.
No.
Oh, dear. How much older you look. Oh, how much older.
Yes, well, I was still a young man when they called me the lovesick major. I was in love then. It's different now.
But you haven't got a single grey hair. You've aged, yes, but you're certainly not an old man.
Nevertheless, time has passed. Is it long since you left Moscow?
11 years. What you crying for, Masha, you funny girl? You make me cry too.
I'm not crying.
What was the street you lived in?
Basmania Street.
Oh, we did too.
I used to walk from there to the Krasny Barracks. I remember I had to cross a very gloomy bridge. I remember how lonely and sad I felt there. Oh, what a magnificently wide river you have here. It's a marvelous river.
Yes, but it's a cold place and there are too many mosquitoes.
Really? I should have said you had a really good, healthy climate here. A real Russian climate. There's one rather strange thing. The station is 15 miles from the town and no one knows why.
I know why. If the station were nearer, it couldn't be so far away, and as it is so far away, it can't be nearer.
Well, you like your little jokes, Salioni.
I remember you now. I know I do.
I knew your mother.
She was a good woman. God bless her memory.
Mama was buried in Moscow.
You know, I'm even beginning to forget what she looked like. I suppose people will lose all memory of us in just the same way. We'll be forgotten.
Oh, yeah. We shall all be forgotten. Such is our fate, we can't do anything about it. And all the things that seem serious and important and full of meaning to us now will be forgotten one day. Or at least they won't seem important anymore. It may well be that in time to come, the life we live now will seem strange and uncomfortable and stupid. And not too clean either. And perhaps even wicked.
Well, who can tell? It's just as possible that future generations will think that we lived our lives on a very high plane and remember us with respect. After all, we no longer have tortures and public executions and invasions. Though there is still a great deal of suffering.
There's nothing the good baron likes so much as a nice bit of philosophizing.
Salione, kindly leave me alone. Will you? It's becoming very tiresome.
You said just now, Baron, that this was a great age that we live in. But people are small all the same. Look how small I am.
That's Andre playing the violin. He's our brother, you know.
We've got a very clever brother. We're expecting him to be a professor. Papa was a military man, but Andre chose an academic career.
We've been teasing him today. We think he's in love, just a little.
With the girl who lives down here. She'll be calling in today, most likely.
The way she dresses is awful. It's not that her clothes are ugly and old-fashioned. They're simply pathetic. Andre's not in love with her. I can't believe it. After all, he has got some taste. I heard yesterday that she's going to marry Protopopov, the chairman of the local council. I thought it was an excellent idea. Andre? Come here, will you? Just for a moment.
This is my brother, Andre.
Krozorov, I believe you've been appointed battery commander.
What do you think, dear? The colonel comes from Moscow.
Oh, do you really? Congratulations. You get no peace from my sisters now.
I'm afraid your sisters must be getting tired of me already.
Oh, look, do you see this this little picture frame? Andre gave it to me today.
Huh?
He made it himself.
Yes, it's very nice indeed.
And do you see that one over the piano? He made that one too.
And he's got a degree, and he plays the violin, and he makes all sorts of things about... Actually, come here. He's got such a bad habit, always going off like this. Now, come just
Here.
come here.
Please leave me alone.
Oh, you are a silly. They used to call Colonel Vershinin the lovesick major, and he didn't get annoyed.
Not in the least.
I feel like calling you the lovesick fiddler.
You're the lovesick professor.
He's fallen in love. Andre!
He does fall in love.
That's enough. That's enough. Hey, I didn't sleep the whole night. Not feeling too grand. I read till 4, and I went to bed. Nothing happened. I kept thinking about one thing and another. I want to translate a book from the English while I'm here.
You read English then?
Oh, yes. My father, God bless his memory, used to wear us out with the learning. It sounds silly, I know, but I must confess that since he died, I began to grow stout, as though I'd been physically relieved of the strain. I've grown quite stout in a year. Thanks to Father, my sisters and I know French, German, English. Dorina knows Italian. What an effort it cost us all, though.
Knowing 3 languages in a town like this is an unnecessary luxury. In fact, it's not even a luxury. It's a sort of useless encumbrance, like a 6th finger.
Really? It seems to me there's nowhere on earth, however dull and depressing, where intelligence and education can ever be useless. And let us suppose that among the 100,000 people of this town, all of them no doubt very backward and uncultured, there are just 3 people like yourselves. Obviously you can't hope to triumph over the mass of ignorance around you. Life will swallow you up. But you won't quite disappear. You'll make some impression on it. And after you've gone, perhaps 6 more people like you will turn up, and then 12, and so on, until in the end almost everyone will have become like you. So that in 200 or 300 years' time, life on this old earth of ours will have become marvelously beautiful. And man longs for a life like that. And if it isn't here yet, then he must imagine it, wait for it, dream about it. He must know and see more than his father and his grandfather did. And you're complaining because you know a lot of stuff that's useless.
I'll be staying to lunch.
Someone should have written all that down.
You say that in time to come life will be marvelously beautiful, and that's probably true. But in order to share in it now, at a distance, so to speak, we must prepare for it and work for it.
Yes? What a lot of flowers you have here. What a marvellous house. I do envy you. All my life I seem to have been pigging it in small flats with 2 chairs and a stove which always smokes. It's the flowers I've missed most in my life. Flowers like these. Oh well, never mind.
Yes. We must work. You're probably thinking that I'm a sentimental German, but I assure you I'm not. I'm Russian. I don't speak a word of German. My father was baptized in the Greek Orthodox faith.
You know, I often wonder what it would be like if we could start our lives all over again, consciously. I mean deliberately. Suppose we could put aside the life we lived already as though it were a sort of rough draft and start another one, like a fair copy. I think if that happened, the thing you'd want most would be not to repeat yourself. I have a wife, you know, and 2 little girls. And my wife's not very well and all that. Oh, if I had to start my life again, I wouldn't marry. No.
Congratulations, dear sister, from the bottom of my heart. Congratulations on your Saints' Day. I wish you good health and everything a girl of your age ought to have. Allow me to present you with this little book. It's the history of our school, covering the whole 50 years of its existence. I wrote it myself. Good morning to you all. Allow me to introduce myself. Kuligin's the name. I'm a master at the secondary school here, and a town councillor. You'll find a list in the book of all the pupils who've completed their studies at our school during the last 50 years. Vaki, Quad, Potui, Vaciant, Meliora, Potentes.
You gave me this book last Easter.
Did I really? Oh, in that case, give it me back. No, better give it to the Colonel.
No.
Please, do take it, Colonel. Maybe you'll read it sometime when you've nothing better to do.
Well, that's very kind of you. Well, I'm so glad to have made your acquaintance.
Oh, you're not going. Really, you mustn't.
Oh, stay and have lunch with us, please do.
Oh, please do.
I see I've intruded on your Saints' Day party. I didn't know. Forgive me for not offering you my congratulations.
Today is Sunday, my friends. A day of rest. Let us rest and enjoy it, each according to his age and position in life. The Romans enjoyed good health because they knew how to work and how to rest. They had mens sana in corpore sano. Their life had a definite shape, a form. A thing that loses its form is finished. I'm cheerful today. Marcia loves me. My wife loves me. I'm quite excellent spirits. Marcia, we're invited to the directors at 4 o'clock. A country walk's been arranged for the teachers and their families.
I'm not going.
Marcia, darling, why not?
I'll tell you later. Oh, all right, I'll come. Only leave me alone now.
After the walk, we shall all spend the evening at the director's house. In spite of weak health, that man certainly spares no pains to be sociable. First rate, thoroughly enlightened man. Most excellent person. After the conference yesterday, he said to me, "I'm tired, Fyodor Ilyich. I'm tired." Your clock's 7 minutes fast. Yes, I'm tired, he said.
Will you all come and sit down, please? Lunch is ready. There's a pie.
Hi! Oh, excellent.
Remember, you're not to take anything to drink today, do you hear? It's bad for you.
Don't worry, I got over that weakness long ago. I haven't done any heavy drinking for 2 years now. Anyway, my dear, what difference does it make?
All the same, don't you dare drink anything, mind you don't now. So now I have to spend another those damnably boring evenings at the director's.
Well, I wouldn't go if I were you, and that's that.
Don't you go, my dear.
Don't go, indeed. Oh, what a damnable life. It's intolerable.
Well.
Do stop it, Sally, honey. I've really had enough.
Your health, Colonel. I'm a schoolmaster, and I'm quite one of the family here, as it were. I'm Marcia's husband. She's got a sweet nature. Such a very sweet nature.
I think I'll try a little of this. Huh? Your health.
Thank you.
I feel so happy with you.
Very nice.
Andre? Andre, will you please come?
Marcia's a bit out of humour today. Do you know she was 18 when she got married? And then her husband seemed like the cleverest man in the world to her. It's different now. Oh, he's the kindest of men, but he's not the cleverest.
What are you thinking?
Nothing special. You know, I don't like that man Salioni. I'm quite frightened of him. Whenever he opens his mouth, he says something silly.
He's a strange fellow. I'm sorry for him, even though he irritates me. I think he's shy. When he's alone with me, he can be quite sensible and friendly, but in company, he's a bully and offensive. Don't go in yet. Give them time to get settled down. What are you thinking about? Today you're 20. What years and years we still have ahead of us. A whole succession of years all full of my love for you.
Oh, don't talk to me of love, Nikolai.
Oh, I long so passionately for life. I long to work. All this longing is somehow mingled with my love for you, Irene. And just because you are beautiful, life is beautiful to me. Tell me what you think.
You say life is beautiful. Maybe it is. But what if it only seems beautiful? I mean, our lives, the lives of us three sisters, haven't been very beautiful up to now. I'm afraid I'm crying. So unnecessary. We must work. The reason we feel so depressed and take such a gloomy view of life is because we've never known what it's like to make a real effort. We're the children of parents who despised work.
My hair seems to be all right. Oh, my dear Irina, congratulations. You got such a lot of visitors, I feel quite shy. How do you do, Baron?
And Natalia Ivanovna, how are you, my dear?
Congratulations. You've got such a lot of people here, I feel dreadfully shy.
Oh, they're all old friends. Oh, my dear, you've got green belt on. Surely that's a mistake.
Why? Is it a bad omen? Or what?
No, but it just doesn't go with your dress. It looks so strange.
Really? Oh, but it isn't really green, you know. It's a sort of owl colour.
Yes, I will.
Andre.
I remember when I was very young. I remember when I was a very young officer.
Irina, you know, I do wish you'd find yourself a good husband. In my view, it's high time you got married.
You ought to find yourself a nice little husband too, Natalia.
Natalia already has a husband in view.
Glass of wine for me, please. 3 cheers for our jolly old life. We keep our end up, we do.
Marcia, you won't get more than 5 out of 10 for good conduct.
This liqueur is delicious. What's it made of?
Black beetle.
Oh, how disgusting. There's roast turkey for supper tonight and then apple tart. You must all come this evening.
Oh, may I come?
Oh, yes, please
Thank
do.
you.
Yes.
I don't stand on ceremony here.
Nature created us for love and music.
Stop it, aren't you tired? Yes, stop it.
Oh, look, they're having lunch already.
Having a lunch?
So they are, they're having lunch already. Wait half a minute.
Oh, photos.
That's one. Just 1 minute more. Two. All over now.
Congratulations, Irina. I wish you all the best. Everything you wish yourself.
Yes.
Marvellous weather today. Simply gorgeous. I've been out the whole morning walking with the boys. Oh! You know I teach gym at the high school, don't you?
You may move now, Irina. That is, if you want to. You do look so attractive today. By the way, look at this top. It's got a wonderful hum.
Isn't it sweet?
That's it.
It's a sweet little thing.
Green oak grows by a curving shore. Around that oak hangs a golden tree. Keep saying that. Those lines have been worrying me all day long.
Do you know we're 13 at table?
You don't really believe in those old superstitions, do you?
When 13 people sit down at table, it means that some of them are in love. Is it you, by any chance, Chibutki?
I'm just an old sinner. But I don't understand is why Natalia is so embarrassed.
Natasha, don't get upset, please. Wait.
I'm so ashamed. I don't know what's the matter with it.
Please don't get upset. They don't mean any harm. They're just teasing us. So they're really fond of us both. Let's go out on the veranda. They can't see us there.
But you see, I'm not used to being with such a lot of people.
You're so young, so wonderfully, beautifully young. Believe me, I feel so happy, so full of love, of joy. They can't see us. They can't see us there. I want you to marry me. I love you. I love you as a...
What you doing, Andrusha? Reading? It's all right. I just wanted to know.
What's the matter, Natasha?
I was just going round to make sure that nobody's left a light anywhere. It's Carnival Week. The servants get so excited about it. You've got to watch them. What time is it?
8:15.
And Olga and Irina not back from work yet. Poor things. This morning I said to Irina, do take care of yourself, my dear, but she won't listen. Did you say it was 8:15?
Yeah.
I'm afraid Bobik is not at all well. Why does he get so cold? Yesterday he had a temperature, but today he's quite cold when you touch him. I'm so afraid.
It's all right, Natasha. The boy's well enough.
Still, I think he ought to have a special diet. I'm so anxious about him. By the way, they tell me some carnival party's supposed to be coming here soon after 9. I'd rather they didn't come, Andrusha.
I don't know what I can do about it. They've been asked to come.
This morning the dear little fellow woke up and looked at me, and suddenly he smiled. He recognized me, you see. Babies understand everything, you know. Anyway, Andrusha, I'll tell the servants not to let the carnival party in.
Well, it's for my sisters to decide, isn't it? It is their house, after all.
Yes. It's their house as well. I'll tell them too. They're so kind. I've ordered sour milk for supper. Doctor says you're to eat nothing but sour milk or you'll never get any thinner. Bobby, it feels so cold. I'm afraid his room's too cold for him. He ought to move into a warmer room. Or at least until the warmer weather comes. Irina's room, for instance. Oh, but that's a perfect room for a baby. We must tell her. Perhaps she'd share Olga's room for a bit. Andrusha, why don't you say anything?
I'm just daydreaming. There's nothing to say, anyway.
Well, what was it I was going to tell you about? Oh, yes, Ferapont from the council office is waiting to see you about something.
Tell him to come in.
Old chap, what do you want to see me about?
The chairman has sent you the register and a letter or something. Here it is.
Thank you. Yes, that's all right. Incidentally, why have you come so late? It's gone 8 already.
What's that?
I said you're late. It's gone 8 already.
That's right. It was still daylight when I came first, but they wouldn't let me see you. The master is engaged, they said. Well, if you're engaged, you're engaged. I'm not in a hurry. What's that?
Nothing. Well, tomorrow's Friday. There's no meeting. I'll go to the office just the same, do some work. I'm so bored at home. Today I picked up this book just out of boredom because I hadn't anything to do. It's a copy of some lectures I attended at the university. Good heavens, just think of it. I'm secretary of the local council now. Protopopov as chairman. The most I can ever hope for is to become a member of the council myself. I who dream every night that I'm a professor in the Moscow University, a famous academician, the pride of all Russia.
I'm sorry, I can't tell you. I don't hear very well.
Well, if you could hear properly, I wouldn't be talking to you like this. I've got to talk to somebody. And my wife doesn't seem to understand me. As for my sisters, I'm afraid of them. For some reason or other, I'm afraid of them, laughing at me. I don't drink. I loathe taverns. No, my word, how I'd enjoy an hour or so at Tiestov's. Or the great Moscow restaurant. Yes, my dear friend, I would indeed.
The other day at the office, a contractor was telling me about some businessmen who were eating pancakes in Moscow. One of them ate 40 pancakes and died. It was either 40 or 50, I can't remember exactly.
You can sit in a huge restaurant in Moscow, you know no one. No one knows you. Somehow you don't feel you don't belong there. Whereas here you know everyone. Everyone knows you. You don't belong at all.
What's it?
Nothing.
It was the same man that told me. Of course, he may have been lying. He said there's an enormous rope stretched right across Moscow.
Whatever for?
I'm sorry, I can't tell you, but that's what he said.
That's nonsense. Have you ever been to Moscow?
No, it was not God's wish.
I don't know. I don't know. For instance, after Father died, for a long time we couldn't get accustomed to the idea that he hadn't any orderlies to wait on us. But, habit apart, I think it's quite right what I was saying. I don't know about other places. But in this town, certainly, the military do seem to be the nicest and most generous and best-mannered people.
I'm thirsty. I could do with a glass of tea.
They'll bring it in presently. You see, they married me off when I was 18. I was afraid of my husband because he was a schoolmaster, and I'd only just left school myself. He seemed very learned then, very clever and important. Now it's quite different, unfortunately.
Yes. I see.
I don't say anything against my husband there. I'm used to him now. But there are such a lot of vulgar people among the civilians. Vulgarity upsets me. It makes me feel insulted. I actually suffer when I meet someone who lacks refinement. When I'm with the other teachers, my husband's friends, I just suffer.
Yes, of course. Oh, we Russians are capable of such elevated thought. Why do we have such low ideals in practical life? Why is it? Why?
You're sad tonight, aren't you?
Perhaps. I didn't have any dinner. I haven't had anything to eat since morning. Oh, one of my daughters is a bit off colour. Whenever the children are ill, I get worried. I feel utterly conscience-stricken at having given them a mother like theirs. Oh, you could only see her this morning. We started quarrelling at 7 o'clock, and at 9 I just walked out of the house and slammed the door. I never talk about these things in the ordinary way. It's strange. You're the only person I feel I dare complain to. No, don't be angry with me. I've nobody. Nobody but you.
What a noise the wind's making in the stove. Just before Father died, the wind howled in the chimney, just like that.
You superstitious?
Yes.
Strange. You really are a wonderful creature. Marvellous creature. Wonderful, marvellous. It's quite dark here, yet I can see your eyes shining.
There's more light over here.
I love you. I love you. I love you. I love your eyes. I love your movements. I dream about them. You're a wonderful, marvellous being.
When you talk to me like that, somehow I can't help laughing, although I'm afraid at the same time. Don't say it again, please. Well, no, go on. I don't mind. I don't mind. There's someone coming. Let's talk about something else.
Oh, it's you. How are you?
Home at last. A woman came into the post office just before I left. She wanted to send a wire to her brother in Saratov to tell him her son had just died. She couldn't remember the address, so we had to send the wire without an address, just to Saratov. She was crying. I was rude to her for no reason at all. So stupid of me. We're having the carnival crowd today, aren't we?
Yes.
How nice it is to rest. I'm so tired.
You know, when you come back from work, you look so young, so pathetic somehow.
I'm so tired. No, I don't like working at the post office. I must look for another job. This one doesn't suit me. Hasn't got what I always longed for and dreamt about. It's the sort of job you do without inspiration, without even thinking. It's the doctor. Would you answer him? I'm tired. He'll be up in a moment. We must do something about all this. Andre and the doctor went to the club last night and lost again at cards. They say Andre lost 200 rubles.
Well, what are we to do about it?
Lost a fortnight ago. He lost in December, too. I wish to goodness he'd lose everything we've got and soon, and then perhaps we'd move out of this place. I dream of Moscow every night. Sometimes I feel as if I were going mad. We're going to Moscow in June. It's February, March. It's nearly half a year.
We must take care that Natasha doesn't get to know about him losing at cards.
I don't think she cares.
There he is.
Has he paid his rent yet? No, not a penny for the last 8 months. I suppose he's forgotten.
How solemn he looks sitting there.
Why don't you say something, Alexander Ignatievich?
I don't know. I'm just longing for some tea. I give my life for a glass of tea. I haven't had anything to eat since morning.
Jullie Chekov, no?
What is it?
Please come here. Venice ici. I can't do without you. Come.
Oh, well. Since we can't have any tea, let's do a bit of philosophizing.
Yes. Yes, let's.
What about? What about? Well, let's try to imagine what life will be like after we're dead, say in 200 or 300 years.
After we're dead. All right, then. After we're dead, people will fly about in balloons. Cut of their coats will be different. The sixth sense will be discovered, and possibly even developed, for all I know. But I believe that life itself will remain the same. It will still be difficult and full of mystery and full of happiness. And in 1,000 years' time, people will still be sighing and complaining how hard this business of living is. And they'll still be afraid of death and unwilling to die, just as they are now. Why are you laughing?
I don't know. I've been laughing all day today.
I went to the same cadet school as you did, but I never went on to the military academy. I read a great deal, of course, but I never know what books I ought to choose, and probably I read a lot of stuff that's not worth anything. All the same, I think I know one thing. It's not only true, but also most important. There's not going to be any happiness for our own generation. We've just got to work and work. All the happiness is reserved for our descendants. Our remote descendants.
I do not say in accents sweet farewell, but tenderly pronounce a parting greeting, and rest upon my...
Anyway, if I'm not going to be happy, then at least my children's children will be.
Well, what if I am happy?
You're not.
We don't understand one another, that's obvious. How can I convince you? Oh, show a finger to her and she'll laugh. Life doesn't change. It always goes on the same. Follows its own laws. Think of the birds that migrate in the autumn. The cranes, for instance, they just fly on and on. And they'll go on flying no matter how many philosophers happen to be flying with them.
Isn't there some meaning?
Meaning? Look out. Snowing. What's the meaning of that?
I think a human being has got to have some faith. Or else he's got to seek faith. Otherwise his life will be empty. Empty. How can you live and not know why the cranes fly, why children are born, why the stars shine in the sky? You must either know why you live or else nothing matters. Everything's just wild grass.
All the same, I'm sorry my youth's over.
It's a bore to be alive in this world, friends. That's what Gogol says.
Well, I've thrown in my hand. I've given him my resignation. Did you know, Marcia?
Yes. I don't see any good in it either. I don't like civilians.
Never mind. What sort of a soldier do I make anyway? I'm not even good looking. But what does it matter? I shall work. I'd like to do such a hard day's work that when I came home in the evening, I'd fall on my bed exhausted and go to sleep at once. I should think that working men sleep well at night.
I've got you some coloured crayons at Chekov's in Moscow Street. And this little penknife, too.
You treat me as if I were a child. I wish you'd remember I'm grown up now. Oh, but they're very nice.
Doctor, how old are you?
Huh? 32.
I'll show you another kind of patience.
What a wind, though.
Yes. I'm tired of the winter. I've almost forgotten what summer's like.
It's coming up. We will get to Moscow.
No, it isn't. The two must go on the 8th. That means you won't go to Moscow.
Oh. Samarkand. Smallpox is raging.
Masha, the tea's ready, dear. Will you please come to the table, Your Excellency? I'm sorry I can't remember your name.
Bring it here, Nanny. I'm not going in there.
Nanny!
Coming.
No, even tiny babies understand what we say perfectly well. Good morning, Bobby, I said to him only today. Good morning, my precious. And then he looked at me in such a special sort of way. You may say that's only a mother's imagination, but it isn't. I do assure you. No, he really is an extraordinary child.
If that child were mine, I'd cook him up in a frying pan and eat him.
What a rude, ill-mannered person.
Happy people don't notice whether it's summer or winter. I think I'd be indifferent to the weather if I were living in Moscow.
You won't notice Moscow once you live there again. We're never happy. We can't be. We only long for happiness.
I say, where are all the chocolates?
Yeah?
Salione's eaten them.
All of them?
Here's a letter for you, sir.
For me? It's from my daughter. Yes, of course. Forgive me, Masha. I'll just go away quietly. I won't have any tea.
Same thing.
My wife's tried to poison herself. I must go. I'll just get away quietly without them seeing me. It's always this most dreadfully unpleasant, my dear, good, sweet girl. I just go out quietly.
Where's he off to? And I've just brought him some tea. What an odd fellow.
Why don't you leave me alone? Why do you keep pestering me? Can't you leave me in peace? I'm sick and tired of you, you silly old woman.
Why, I didn't mean to offend you, dear. And Tisa, sitting there in his den.
Do let me sit down somewhere. You take up the whole table with your cards. Why don't you get on with your tea?
Masha, you're so bad-tempered.
My bad temper, don't talk to me. Don't touch me.
Oh, don't touch her. Take care not to touch her.
Pass me the cognac.
Really, Masha, vous avez des manières un peu grossières.
Where's the Colonel?
Gone home. His wife's done something peculiar again.
Always sit alone, brooding over something or other. Well, let's make it up. Let's have a cognac together. Well, I suppose I shall have to play the piano all night tonight. A lot of rubbishy tunes. Never mind.
Why do you say let's make it up? We haven't quarrelled.
Well, you always give me the feeling there's something wrong between us. You're a strange character, there's no doubt about it.
I am strange, but who's not so? Don't be angry, Alico.
What's a liquor got to do with it?
When I'm alone with people, I'm all right, but when I'm in company, I get depressed and shy and talk all sorts of nonsense.
Well, you often make me angry because you keep pestering me. But all the same, I like you for some reason or other. Anyway, I'm going to get drunk tonight, whatever happens. Let's have another drink.
Yes, let's. It's not that I've anything personal against you, Baron, but my temperament's rather like Lermontov's. I've even been told that I look a little like Lermontov.
I've given him my resignation. Finished! I've been considering it for 5 years, and I've made up my mind at last I'm going to work.
They gave me was the genuine Caucasian stuff. Onion soup followed by chakma. It's a meat dish, you know.
Chirachkama isn't a meat dish at all. It's a kind of plant, something like an onion.
My dear boy, chakma is not an onion. It is a sort of roast mutton.
I tell you that chiramcha is a kind of onion.
Oh, do stop it, friends. Please, stop it.
When is the carnival crowd coming along?
We're supposed to be here at 9. That means any minute now.
Oh, my lovely postman, you, my lovely postman. Well, let's have another drink. They will
take it, Andrusha! Let's drink to eternal friendship!
I'll come with you when you go back to Moscow University.
Which university? There are 2 universities in Moscow.
There's only one university.
I tell you, there are 2.
Mine make it 3, the more the merrier.
There are 2 universities in Moscow. There are 2 universities in Moscow, one old and one new. But if you don't want to listen to what I have to say, if my conversation irritates you, I can keep silent. I can, in fact, go to another room.
Bravo! Bravo! Come on, my friends, let's get started. I'll play for you. What a funny creature that Salioni is. Huh?
What is it?
It's time we were going. Good night.
What about the carnival party?
The carnival party's not coming. You see, my dear, Natasha says that Bobby isn't well. I don't know, and I don't care.
Bobby's not very well. Never mind. We'll keep our end up. If they say we must go out, out we must go. It's not Bobby who's not well, it's her. There. Bourgeoise.
Oh, what a pity. I've been hoping to spend the evening here. But, of course, if the child's not well, I'll bring him some toys tomorrow.
I had a good long sleep after lunch today on purpose, because I thought I'd be dancing all night. I need to say, it's only 9 o'clock.
I never found time to get married somehow. Partly because my own life has flashed by like lightning, and partly because I was always in love with your mother, who was married.
Well, one should never marry. A marriage is so boring.
It may be, but what about loneliness? You may philosophize as much as you like, my dear boy, but loneliness is a dreadful thing. Well, really, it doesn't matter a damn, of course.
Come on, let's go.
What's the hurry? There's plenty of time.
Oh, my wife might try to stop me. Listen, I won't play tonight. I'll just sit and watch. I don't feel very well. Tell me, Ivan will manage. What should I do for breathlessness?
Oh, ask me, my dear boy. I can't remember. I simply don't know.
What is it?
The carnival party.
Tell them there's no one at home, Nanny. Apologise to them.
Where is everyone?
Gone home.
How strange. And you're here alone.
Yes. Alone. Well, good night.
I know that I behaved tactlessly just now, but I lost control of myself. But you're different from the others. You're pure. You're the only person who can see where the truth lies. You're the only person in the world who can understand me. I love you. I love you with a deep and infinite
Do
love.
please go away. Good night.
I can't live without you. Oh, what a delight it is just to look at you. Oh, my happiness. The beautiful, marvelous, entrancing eyes. Eyes like no other woman's that I've ever seen.
Stop it, Salioni.
I've never spoken to you of my love before. It makes me feel as if I were living on a different planet. Never mind. I can't force you to love me, obviously. But I don't intend to have any rivals, successful rivals, I mean. No. No. I swear to you by everything that I hold sacred, if there is anyone else, I will kill him. Oh, how wonderful you are!
Forgive me, Salioni. I didn't know you were here. I'm afraid I'm not properly dressed.
I don't care. Goodbye.
You must be tired, my poor dear girl. You ought to go to bed earlier.
Is Bobby asleep?
Yes, he's asleep. But he's not sleeping peacefully. By the way, my dear, I've been meaning to speak to you for some time, but there's always been something. You see, I think that Bobby's nursery is so cold and damp, and your room is just ideal for a baby. Darling, do you think you could go into Olga's room?
Where to?
Well, you could share with Olya for the time being, and Bobby can have your room. Oh, he's such a darling. This morning I said to him, Bobby, you're my very own, my very own. And he just gazed at me with his dear little eyes. Well, that must be Olga. How late she is. Protopopov. Oh, what a funny fellow. Protopopov's come to ask me to go for a drive with him in a troika. Aren't these men strange creatures? Shall I go? Just for a quarter of an hour? Tell him I'll be down in a minute. There's the bell again. Oh, I suppose it's Olga.
Well, what's the meaning of this? You said you were having a party.
Strange. I left here about half an hour ago. They were expecting a carnival party then.
They've all gone.
Marcia too? Where's she gone? And why is Protopopov waiting outside in a troika? Who's he waiting for?
Please don't ask me questions. I'm tired.
You're a spoilt child.
Oh, the conference has only just ended. The headmistress is ill and I'm deputising for her. Oh, my head aches. Oh, my head. Head. Andre lost 200 rubles at cards last night. The whole town's talking about it.
Yes, the conference exhausted me too.
So, now my wife's taken it into her head to try and frighten me. She tried to poison herself. However, everything's all right now, so I can relax, thank goodness. But now we've got to go away again. Good night to you. All the best. Kollegin, would you care to come along with me somewhere? I can't stay at home tonight. I really can't. Do come.
I'm tired. I don't think I'll come. Has my wife gone home?
I think so.
Good night. We can rest tomorrow and the day after. 2 whole days. Well, I wish you all the best. I long for some tea. I reckoned on spending the evening in congenial company, but oh, falicem hominum spem. Always use the accusative case in exclamations.
No. Looks as though I'll have to go somewhere by myself.
Oh, my head aches. My poor head. Andre lost at cards. The whole town's talking about it. I'll go and lie down.
I'll be back in half an hour. Just going for a little drive.
They're sitting down there under the stairs. I keep telling them to come upstairs, that they shouldn't sit down there, but they just cry. There are people in the yard, too, half-dressed.
Take this grey frock, Nanny, and this one. This blouse, too. And this skirt. Apparently the whole of Kirsanovsky Street's been burnt down. Take this and this. The poor Rashinians had a dreadful fright. Their house was nearly burnt down. They'll have to spend the night here. We mustn't let them go home. Poor Fedotik's lost everything. He's got nothing left.
I'd better call for a punt, Olyushka. I can't carry all this.
Nobody answers when I ring. Is anyone there? Will someone come up, please? Oh, Therapont. How dreadful it all is now. Tired of it, I am. Therapont, will you take this downstairs, please? The Kolotilin girls are sitting under the stairs. Give it to them. And this too.
Very good, madam. Moscow was burned down in 1812, just the same. The French were surprised, all right.
Yes, yes. Go along now. Take it down.
Very good, madam.
Oh, give it all away, Nanny. We won't keep anything. Give it all away. I'm so tired I can scarcely stand. I mustn't let the Vishinis go home. The little girls can sleep in the drawing room. Alexandra can share the downstairs room with the Baron. The doctor's gone and got drunk. You'd think he'd done it on purpose. We mustn't let anyone in his room. Vishinin's wife will have to stay into the drawing room too.
Don't send me away, Olishka, darling. Don't send me away.
What nonsense you're talking, Nanny. No one's sending you away.
My dearest girl, I do work, you know. I work as hard as I can. I suppose now I'm getting weaker. I'll be told to go, but where can I go? Where? I'm 80 years old. I'm over 81 now.
You sit down, Nanny. You're tired. You poor dear. Now you just sit down there and have a rest. Oh, you've turned quite pale.
They're saying we ought to start a subscription in aid of the victims of the fire. Well, why not? It's up to us to help the poor as best we can. Bobik and Sophachka are fast asleep as if nothing had happened. This house seems full of people whichever way you turn. You know there's flu about in the town? I'm so afraid the children might catch it.
Oh, you can't see the fire from this room. It's quiet in here.
Yes, I suppose my hair's all over the place. So I've got stouter. It's not true, I'm not a bit stouter. How dare you sit down in my presence? Get up. Get out of here. Can't understand why you keep that old woman in the house.
Forgive me for saying so, but I can't understand how you can...
She's quite useless here. She's just a peasant and her right place is in the country. I do like order in a home. I don't like having useless people about. Oh, you're tired, my poor dear. Our headmistress is tired. You know, when my Sophachka grows up and goes to school, I'll be frightened of you.
I'm not going to be a headmistress.
Oh, but you'll be asked to, Alechka. It's settled.
I'll refuse. I couldn't do it. Oh, you spoke so harshly to Nanny just now. Forgive me for saying so, but I just can't stand that sort of thing. It made me feel quite faint.
Forgive me, Olga, dear, forgive me. I didn't mean to upset you.
Please, try to understand me, dear. It may be that we've been brought up in a peculiar way, but when people are treated like that, I just can't stand it. It made me feel quite ill.
Yes, well, forgive me, dear, forgive me. But she'd be better in the country.
She's been with us for 30 years.
Yes, but she can't work now, can she? She just sleeps and sits about.
Well, let her sit about.
Oh, what do you mean, let her sit about? Surely she's a servant. No, I don't understand you, Olya. I have a nurse for the children and a wet nurse, and we share a maid and a cook. Well, whatever do you want this old woman for? What for?
I've aged 10 years tonight.
We really must sort things out, Olya. You're working at your school, and I'm working at home. You're teaching, and I am running the house. And when I say something about the servants, I know what I'm talking about. That old thief must get out of this house tomorrow. Oh, how dare you vex me so? How dare you? Oh, really? If you don't move downstairs, we're going to be always quarrelling. This is quite dreadful.
Where's Marcia? It's time we went home. They say the fire's getting less fierce. Only one street got burnt down. And to begin with, it looked as if the whole town was going to be set on fire by that wind. Oh. I'm so tired, Alechka. You know, I've often thought, if I hadn't married Marcia, I'd have married you, my dear. You're so kind. I'm worn out.
sir?
The doctor's got drunk, just as if he'd done it on purpose. Hopelessly drunk. I think he's coming in. Can you hear him? What a fellow, really. I'm going to hide.
He's been off drinking for 2 years and now suddenly he goes and gets drunk.
What a scoundrel.
The devil take them all. I think I can treat anything just because I'm a doctor. I know positively nothing. Last Wednesday I was attending a woman in Jersey and she died, and it was all my fault. I used to know a thing or two 25 years ago. But now I can't remember a thing. If I could only stop existing. The other day in the club, they were talking of Shakespeare and Voltaire. I haven't read either. Not a line of either. I tried to make out by my expression that I had. Others did the same. Then I thought of the woman I killed on Wednesday. Such a swine. I was so sick of myself. I went and got drunk.
You can rest in here for a while. No one will come in here.
If it hadn't been for the soldiers, the whole town would have been burned down. They're a fine lot of fellows. Yes, a fine lot.
What's the time? Gone 3. It's beginning to get light.
Everyone's sitting in the drawing room. No one thinks of leaving. And Salione's there too. You ought to go to bed, Doctor.
I'm all right. Thank you.
Half sea's over, Doctor. You're a fine one. In vino veritas, as they used to say in Rome.
I mean, such a mess helping to put out that fire. I must look like nothing on earth. I believe they were saying yesterday that our brigade might be transferred to somewhere a long way away. Some said Poland, others said Chita in Siberia.
Oh, yeah, I heard that, too. Town was seen quite deserted.
And we'll go away too.
Smashed to smithereens.
Fancy breaking such a valuable thing. Oh, Doctor, Doctor, you'll get a bad mark for that.
It was my mother's clock.
Suppose it was. If it was your mother's, then it was your mother's. Perhaps I didn't smash it. Perhaps it just appears that I did it. I don't know anything anymore. Nobody knows anything. What are you staring at? Natalia's having a nice little affair with Protopopov, and you don't see it. You just sit here doing nothing while Natalia's having a nice little affair with Protopopov. Would you like a date?
So, how odd it all is, huh? When the fire started, I ran home as fast as I could. I could see that our house was all right and out of danger. And my 2 little girls were standing there in the doorway, in nothing on but their nightclothes. Their mother wasn't there. In their faces, I saw frightened, anxious, appealing look. I don't know what. My heart sank. My God, I thought, what will these children have to go through in the course of their poor lives? I picked them up and I ran back here, and all the time I was running, I was thinking the same thing. What will they have to go through? When I got here, my wife was here already, angry, shouting. Yeah, when my little girls were standing there in the doorway with nothing on but their nightclothes, and the street was red with the glow of the fire and full of terrifying noises, it struck me that the same sort of thing used to happen years ago when armies used to make sudden raids on towns and plunder them and set them on fire. And anyway, is there any essential difference between things as they were and as they are now? And before very long, say in another 200 or 300 years, people may look at our present life just as we look at the past now, with horror and scorn. Oh, what a great life it'll be then. What a life. Forgive me. I feel in quite a special mood today. I feel full of a tremendous urge to live.
Burnt. Burnt. Everything I've got's burnt.
It's hardly a joke in that. Has anything really been burnt?
Everything, completely. I've got nothing left. My guitar's burnt, my photographs are burnt, and all my letters are burnt. Even the little notebook I was going to give you has been burnt.
No, you can't come in here, Salioni. Please go away.
Can't I? Why can the Baron come in here if I can't?
It's time we were going, all of us. What's the fire doing?
It's dying down, they say. But I must say, I think it's a most peculiar thing if the Baron can come in here and I can't.
Da-rum, da-rum.
Drum, bum, bum.
Very well. We'll make a note of this.
Salioni's made the place reek of perfume. The Baron's asleep. Baron.
I must be tired. The brickworks. No, it's all right. I'm not talking in my sleep. I really do intend to go to the brickwork to start working in it. I had a word with the manager. Oh, how pale you are. So beautiful, so fascinating. Come away with him. Let's go away and work together.
Nikolai Lvovich, I wish you'd go away.
Oh, you're here. I didn't see you. Goodbye, I'm going. There are tears in your eyes. You should go to bed. It's beginning to get light. It's almost morning. If only I could give my life for you.
Nikolai Lvovich, please go away. Really now.
I'm going.
Are you asleep, Fyodor?
Hmm?
Why don't you go home?
My darling Marcia. My sweet, my precious Marcia.
She's tired. Let her rest, Fyodor.
I'll go in a moment. My wife. My dear, good wife. How I love you. Only you. Really, she's an amazing woman. I've been married to you for 7 years, but I feel as if we were only married yesterday. Oh, my word of honor, I do. You really are amazing. Oh, I'm so happy, happy, happy.
And I'm so bored. I can't get it out of my head. Simply disgusting. It's like having a nail driven into my brain. I can't keep silent about it any longer. It's about Andre. Do you know he has actually mortgaged this house to a bank? And his wife's got hold of all the money, and yet the house doesn't belong to him. It belongs to all four of us. Surely he knows that if he's got any honesty.
Why bring all this up, Marcia? Why bother about it now? Andrusha owes money all round. Leave him alone.
Anyway, it's disgusting.
Well, we aren't poor, Marcia. I've got work. I give private lessons in my spare time. I'm just a plain, honest man. Omnia mea mecum porter, as they say.
I don't ask for anything, but I'm disgusted by injustice. Why don't you go home, Fyodor?
You're tired. Just rest here for a while. I'll go home and wait for you. Go to sleep. I'm happy, happy, happy.
The truth is, Andre is getting to be shallow-minded. He's aging. And since he's been living with that woman, he's lost all the inspiration he used to have. Not long ago, he was working for a professorship. And yet yesterday, he actually boasted of having been elected a member of the county council. Fancy him a member. And brought a Popov as chairman. They say the whole town's laughing at him. And he's the only one who doesn't know anything or see anything. And now you see everyone's at the fire, and where is he? He's sitting in his room. Not taking the slightest bit of notice. Playing his violin. It's true. He must turn me out. He got turn me out.
What is it, darling? What is it?
Where is it? Where is it all gone to? Oh, God. I've forgotten everything. It's nothing but a miracle in my head. I've forgotten the Italian for window of Rossini. And every day I'm forgetting more and more, and life's just slipping by, and it'll never come back. Oh, we'll never go to Moscow. I can see we shall never go.
Oh, don't, my dear, don't.
Oh, I'm so miserable. I can't work. I won't work. I'm 23 years old and I can find no satisfaction in anything, none at all. And life's just slipping by, and I feel as though I'm moving away from any hope of a genuine fine life. I'm moving from... Oh, I'm in despair. Why am I still alive? Why haven't I killed myself?
Oh, don't cry, my dear, don't. It hurts me. Don't cry.
I'm not crying. That's enough. Look, I'm not crying anymore. That's enough.
Darling, let me tell you something. I want to speak to you as a sister, as a friend. That is, if you want my advice. Why don't you marry the Baron? You respect him. You think a lot of him. It's true he's not good-looking, but he's a very decent sort of man, and after all, one doesn't marry for love, but to fulfill a duty. At least that's what I think. And I'd marry even if I weren't in love. I'd marry anyone who proposed to me as long as he was a decent sort of man. I'd even marry an old man.
I've been waiting all this time imagining we'd be moving to Moscow. And that I'd meet the man I've dreamt about and I've loved in my dreams. But it's all turned out to be nonsense and nonsense.
My darling sweetheart, I understand everything perfectly. When the Baron first came to see us in his civilian clothes, I thought he looked so plain I actually started to cry. He asked me why I was crying. How could I tell him? But if it were God's will he should marry you, well, that's a different thing altogether, quite different.
She goes round looking as if she started the fire.
Oh, you're so silly, Martha. You're the stupidest person in our family. Forgive me for saying so.
My dear sisters, I have something to confess to you. I must get some relief. I feel the need of it in my heart. I'll confess it to you two alone and then never again, never to anybody. It's a secret, but I can't keep silent any longer. I'm in love. I love that man. You saw him here just now. Oh, what's the good? I love Virginie.
Don't say it. I don't want to hear it.
Well, what's to be done? I thought he was odd at first. Then I began to pity him. Then I began to love him. Love everything about him. His voice, his talk, his movements, his two little girls.
You're getting nonsense, you like. I'm not listening. I don't want to hear
Oh, Olga, you are stupid. If I love him, well, that's my fate. That's my destiny. He loves me too. It's not good, is it? Oh, my darling. What's to become of us? How are we to get through the rest of our lives? When you read a novel, it all somehow seems so old and obvious. And then when you fall in love yourself, you suddenly discover you don't know anything. And you have to make your own decisions. My dear sisters. My dear sisters. I've confessed it all to you now. Now I'll keep quiet. I'll be like that madman in the story by Gogol. Silence. Silence.
What do you want? I don't understand you.
I've asked you 10 times already, Andrei Sergeyevich.
In the first place, don't call me Andrei Sergeyevich. Call me Your Honor.
The firemen are asking Your Honor if they may drive through your garden to get to the river. They've been going the long way round all this time. It's a terrible business.
All right. Tell them it's all right. Well, they keep on plaguing me. Where's Olga? I wanted to see you. Give me the key to the cupboard, the small one you've got. I've lost mine. That Ferapont annoyed me. Made me say something stupid. I made him call me Your Honor. Indeed. Why don't you say anything, Olga? It's about time you stopped this nonsense, you know, sulking like this for no reason. Marsha's here, so Zarina. That's excellent. Now we can talk it over once and for all. Quite frankly. What have you got against me? What is it?
Oh, really, Andrusha, let's stop it. Let's talk about what a dreadful matter.
Don't get upset. I'm asking you quite calmly. What have you got against me? Be frank.
Trum, bum, bum. Goodbye, my darling. Good night, Olga. God bless you. Andrusha, speak to them later. They're a little tired.
Really, Andrusha, let's talk about it tomorrow. It's time to go to bed.
All right, I'll just say one thing, then I'll go. In a moment. In the first place, you've got something against my wife. Against Natasha. I've been conscious of it from the day we got married. Natasha's a fine, honest woman. She's honest and straightforward. And high-principled. That's my opinion. And I love my wife and I respect her. And I expect others to respect her too. And all your grievances, if you don't mind my saying so, are just imagination, nothing more. Secondly, you seem to be annoyed with me because I haven't made myself a professor. A member of the county council. And I feel that my work there is just as valuable and important as any academic work I might do. And thirdly, there's something else I have to tell you. I've mortgaged the house, I know, without asking your permission. That was wrong of me, I admit it, and I ask you to forgive me. I was forced to do it because of my debts. And I'm in debt for 35,000 rubles. I don't play cards anymore. I gave it up a long time ago. But the main thing I can say to justify myself is that you girls get an annuity while I
Don't get anything? No income, I mean?
Is Marcia there? She's not. Well, where can she be? It's very strange.
So you won't listen to me? Natasha's a fine, honest woman. You see, when I married her, I thought that we'd be happy.
I thought we'd all be happy. Oh, my dear sisters. Oh, my dear good sisters.
Please, don't believe me, please. Please don't believe me.
Where's Marcia? Isn't Marcia here? Extraordinary.
Who's that knocking on the floor, Ollie?
It's the doctor. He's drunk.
It's been one thing after another all night. Have you heard, Ollie, the troops are being moved away? They're going somewhere a long way off.
It's only a rumour.
We'll be quite alone then. Ollie?
Well?
Ollie, darling, I do respect the Baron. I think quite a lot of him. He's a very nice man. I'll marry him, Ollie. I'll agree to marry him. If only we can go to Moscow. There's nowhere in the world like Moscow. Let's go. Let's go.
Well, you're a good fellow for dough chicken. We've been good friends. Once more, my good friends. Goodbye.
It's not au revoir, it's goodbye. We shall never meet again.
No. You've made me cry.
Just one more, for the last time.
Thank you for everything.
Everything. Do just wait a second.
All right, so as be sure and right.
Goodbye, trees! Hey-ho! Goodbye, Echo!
I wouldn't be surprised if you got married out there in Poland. You'll get a Polish wife, and she'll put her arms round you and say, Kochany.
There's less than an hour to go. Salioni is the only one from our battery who's going down the river on the barge. All the others are marching with the division. The town will seem quite peaceful.
Yes. And dreadfully dull, too.
By the way, where's Marcia?
Somewhere in the garden.
You must say goodbye to her. Goodbye. I really must go now. I shall burst into tears. Life's been very pleasant here. I have something as a souvenir for you. It's a notebook with a pencil. Hey-ho! Goodbye. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.
They've gone.
They forgot to say goodbye to me.
What about you?
That's true, I forgot too. Never mind, I'll be seeing them again soon. I'm leaving tomorrow. Just one more day. Then in a year's time, I'll be retiring. I'll come back here and spend the rest of my life near you. One more year and I get my pension. I'll come back here and lead a reformed life.
Yes, it really is time you reformed, my dear friend.
I think so too. Ta-ra, boom, dear. I'm sitting on a tomb, dear.
Jabutkin is incorrigible. Incorrigible.
You ought to have taken me in hand, my dear fellow. You'd have reformed me.
Fyodor's shaved off his moustache and I can't bear to look at him. Doctor, I'm worried about something. You were in the town square last night. What happened there?
Good heavens. But nothing. Just a trifling thing. What does it matter?
They say that Salioni and the Baron met in the square outside the theatre.
No, please,
and
don't. What's the good?
It was outside the theatre. Salioni started badgering the Baron, and he lost patience and said something that offended him.
I know nothing about it. It's just a lot of nonsense.
But they say that Salioni's in love with Irina and that he's grown to hate the Baron more and more. Well, that's understandable. Irina's a very nice girl. She's a bit like Marcia. And I love my Marcia.
Every little thing seems to startle me today. I got everything ready. I'm sending my luggage off after lunch. The Baron and I are getting married tomorrow. And directly afterwards we're moving to the brickworks. And the day after I'm starting work at the school. So, our new life will begin again, good boy. The carrier should be here for my luggage in a minute.
My precious child. My darling girl. You've grown so far ahead of me, I'll never catch up now. I've been left behind like a bird that's grown too old and can't catch up with the rest of the flock. Fly away, my dear, fly away, and God be with you. It's a pity you shaved off your moustache, colleague.
Gone about with these. Well, the soldiers will be leaving today, and everything will go back to what it was before. Anyway, whatever they say, Marcia is a good, loyal wife. I love her dearly. I'm thankful for what God's given me. Of course, I'm clever, but happiness doesn't consist of merely being clever.
Shan't have to listen to the maiden's prayer tomorrow. Shan't have to meet Protopopov. Oh, by the way, he's in the sitting room.
Hasn't our headmistress arrived yet?
No, we've sent for her. I hate living here without Olya. She has to live at the school now. She's headmistress, so I'm bored here alone with nothing to do. So I made up my mind, if we're really not going to be able to go to Moscow, that's that. It's God's will. The Baron proposed to me. Well, I thought it over, and then I decided he's such a nice man. It's quite extraordinary how nice he is. Only something happened yesterday, and now I feel as though something mysterious is hanging over me.
Nonsense.
Our headmistress.
Our headmistress has arrived. Let's go indoors.
I'm sitting on a tomb, dear. Boom, dear. Boom, dear.
You look very comfortable sitting there.
Why not? Anything happening?
No. Nothing. Tell me something. Were you in love with my mother?
Yes. Very much in love.
Did she love you?
Can't remember now.
Is my man here? Our cook Martha always used to call her policeman my man. Is he here?
Not yet.
You know, when you have to take your happiness in snatches, in little bits as I do, you get hardened and bad-tempered. I have something boiling over inside me. Here. Look at Andre, our dear brother. All our hopes are gone. It's the same as when thousands of people haul up a huge bell into a tower. Untold labor and money is spent on it, and it falls and gets smashed. Suddenly, without rhyme or reason. It's the same with Andre.
Well, when are they going to settle down in the house? They're making such a row.
Soon. This is an old-fashioned watch. It strikes. First, second, and fifth batteries will be leaving punctually at 1 o'clock. And I leave tomorrow.
Good.
I don't know. I might come back here in a year or so. God knows, it's all the same.
Well, the town will seem quite empty. Something happened yesterday outside the theatre. Everybody's talking about it. I seem to be the only one who doesn't know. What happened?
It was nothing. Just a lot of nonsense. Silly only kept on badgering the Baron about something or other. Baron lost his temper in the end. Silly only had to challenge him to a duel. I think it's time to go. 12:30 in the forest, the other side of the river. Bang, bang. Silly only imagines himself to be another Lermontov. He actually writes poems. Joking apart, this will be his third duel.
Whose third duel?
Salioni's.
What about the Baron?
What about him?
My thoughts are all in a muddle. But what I meant to say was they shouldn't be allowed to fight. He might wound the Baron or even kill him.
The Baron's a decent enough sort of fellow, but what difference does it make whether there's one Baron more or less in the world? Well, let it be, it's all the same. Oh, that's Svatsov the second calling to me from the boat. He can wait.
Well, I think it's immoral. And to fight a duel. Or even be present at one as a doctor.
Talk, nothing but talk all day long. Having to live in this awful climate with the snow threatening to fall at any moment, and on top of that having to listen to all this talk. I won't go into that house. I can't bear going in there. Will you let me know when Vashinin comes? Look. The birds are beginning to fly away already. Swans or geese. Dear birds. Happy birds.
Well, the house will seem quite deserted. The officers will go, you'll go. My sisters will get married. I'll be all alone.
What about your wife?
Oh, my wife is my wife. She's a good, decent sort of woman. She's really very kind, too. There's something about her which drags her down to the level of an animal. Sort of mean, blind, thick-skinned animal. Certainly not a human being. I say this to you as a friend. I can open my heart to her, the only one I can talk to. I can't understand why I love her. Or at least did love her.
Look, my dear boy, I'm leaving tomorrow, and it's possible we'll never see each other again. So let me give you a bit of advice. Put on your hat. Take a walking stick and go away. Go away and never look back. The further you go, the better.
It's time, Doctor. 12:30 already.
Wait a moment. Oh, I'm so tired of you. Andrea, if anybody should ask for me, tell them I'll be back presently.
Yeah.
You had no time to say, oh, before that bear struck him low. What are you groaning about, old man?
Oh, well.
How do you feel?
The last year's burns.
Don't agitate yourself too much, old man. I shan't indulge myself very much. I shall just scorch his wings a little, like a woodcock's. I've used a whole bottle of this today. My hands still smell. They smell like a corpse. Yes. Do you remember that poem of Lermontov? And he rebellious seeks a storm, as though in storms there was tranquility.
Yes. He had no time to see. Oh no, before that bear had struck him low.
Will you sign these papers, please?
Oh, go away. For heaven's sake, leave me alone, please.
Well, what am I supposed to do with the papers then? They're meant to be signed, aren't they?
Marsha! I think Kulyagin is the only person in the whole town who's glad the army's leaving.
It's quite understandable, really. The place will seem quite empty.
I shan't be a moment.
Where are you going?
I want to slip back to the town, say farewell to some of my colleagues.
That's not true. Why are you so absent-minded today? What happened outside the theatre last night?
I'll be back in an hour. I'll be back with you again. My Trish. It's 5 years since I first began to love you, and I still can't get used to it. You seem to get more beautiful every day. What wonderful, lovely hair. Marvelous eyes. Tomorrow I shall take you away. You'll work. You'll be rich. You'll be happy. But there's only one but, only one. You don't love me.
I can't help that. I'll be your wife, I'll be loyal and obedient, but I can't love you. It's to be done. I've never loved anyone in my life. Your eyes are so restless.
Well, say something to me, say something.
What am I to say?
Anything.
Don't, my dear, don't.
Such trifles, such silly little things, sometimes become so important suddenly for no apparent reason. You laugh at them just as you always have done. You still regard them as trifles, and yet suddenly you find they're in control and you haven't the power to stop them. But let's not talk about all that. I mean, really, I feel quite elated. I feel as if I was seeing those fir trees and maples for the first time in my life. They're all looking at me with a sort of inquisitive look, waiting for something. What beautiful trees. And how beautiful, when you think of it, life ought to be with trees like these. I must go, it's time. Look. Look at that dead tree. It's all dried up, but it's still swaying in the wind along with the others. And in the same way, it seems to me that if I die, I shall still have a share in life somehow or other. Goodbye, my dear one. The papers, the ones you gave me, are on my desk under the calendar.
I'm coming with you.
No.
Irina?
What?
I didn't have any coffee this morning. Tell them to have some ready for me, will you?
Andrei Sergeyevich, the papers aren't mine, you know. They're the office papers. I didn't make them up.
Where has all my past life gone to? At the time when I was young and gay and clever. And why do we become so dull and commonplace? Even before we've begun to live. Now, our town has been in existence for 200 years. It has 100,000 people in it, and they do nothing. They only eat and drink and sleep. Then they die. The wives are unfaithful to their husbands. The husbands lie and pretend that they hear and see nothing. All this vulgarity and pettiness crushes the children, puts out any spark they might have in them, so that they become miserable, half-dead creatures, just like their parents. What do you want?
Here are the papers to sign.
Oh, what a nuisance you are.
The porter at the finance department was telling me just now, he said last winter they had 200 degrees of frost in Petersburg.
I hate the life I live at present. Oh, the sense of elation when I think of the future. I seem to see light ahead. I can see myself free and my children free from idleness, free from sour kvass, free from eternal meals of goose and cabbage, free from afternoon naps, free from all this.
They say 2,000 people were frozen to death. It was either in Petersburg or in Moscow. I can't remember exactly.
Oh, my dear good sisters. Oh, my dear good sisters. Oh, my sister, Masha.
Who is that talking so loudly there? Is it you, Andrusha? Don't wake Sopochka. Shh! Il ne faut pas faire de bruit. La Sophie est dormie déjà. Vous êtes un ours. If you want to talk, you give the pram to somebody else. Tarapont, take that pram from the master.
Very good, madam.
I was talking quietly.
Naughty Bobik.
All right, I'll
Naughty?
sign these
Aren't
papers
you a
if it
naughty
needs it,
boy?
and you can come and collect them tomorrow.
Garden's like a public road. Everybody uses it. Oh, you darling. Yes.
And who's that lady? Yes. Miss Auntie Anya. Say hello, Auntie Anya.
Give them something, Nanny.
Go along now. God bless you, good people. Poor homeless folk. Whoever would go dragging round the streets, playing tunes if he had enough to eat. How are you, Irinushka? Oh, my child, what a life I'm having. Such comfort in a large flat at the school with Alyushka and no rent to pay either. The Lord's been kind to me in my old age. I've never had such a comfortable time in my life. Old sinner that I am. A whole room to myself with my own bed. All free. Sometimes when I wake up in the night, I begin to think. And then, oh Lord, oh Holy Mother of God, there's no one happier in the world than me.
We shall be starting in a moment, Olga. It's time I went. Well, I wish you all the happiness in the world. Everything. Where's Masha?
She's somewhere in the garden now. I'll go and look for her.
You're very kind. I really must hurry.
I'll come and help you to look for her. Mashenka. Ahoo.
Everything comes to an end. So, now it's going to be goodbye. The city gave us a sort of farewell lunch. There was champagne and the mayor made a speech. I ate and listened. But all the time I was with you here, I've grown so accustomed to you.
I wonder if we shall ever meet again.
Most likely not.
Nothing ever happens as we'd like it to. I didn't want to be a headmistress, and now I am one. It means we shan't be going to Moscow.
Well, thank you for everything. Forgive me if ever I've done anything. I've talked a lot too far. A lot too much, far too much. Forgive me for that. Don't think too unkind of me.
Now, why is Marcia so long in coming?
What else can I tell you now? It's time to say goodbye. What shall I philosophize about now? Oh, life is difficult. In the old days, the human race was always making war. But now all that's out of date, and in its place is a huge vacuum clamoring to be filled. Humanity is passionately seeking something to fill it with, and of course, it will find something. Someday. Oh, if only it would happen soon. If only we could educate the industrious people and make the educated people industrious. But I really must go.
Oh, here she comes.
I've come to say goodbye.
Goodbye. Please, please.
Write to me. Don't forget me. Let go. It's time. Olga, please take her away. I must go.
Oh, no, please don't.
Never mind. Let her cry. Let her. My dear, sweet Marcia, you're my wife, and I'm happy in spite of everything. I'm not complaining. I've no reproach to make, not a single one. Olya here's my witness. We'll start our life over again in the same old way, and you won't hear a word from me, not a hint.
A green oak grows by a curving shore, and round that oak hangs a golden chain. A golden chain round that oak. Oh, I'm going mad. By a curving shore, green oak.
Calm down, darling. Give her a glass of water. Calm down, darling. Come on.
I'm not crying anymore.
Not crying anymore. She's a good girl.
A green oak grows by a curving shore, and round that oak hangs a golden chain. A green cat. I've got it all mixed up. My life's all mixed up. I don't want anything now. I'll calm down in a moment. My thoughts are all mixed up. What is the curving shore? Why does it keep coming into my head all the time? My thoughts are all mixed up.
Come on now, come on. There's a good girl. Come on now. Come on, let's go into the house. Come.
I'm not going in there. I can't go in there anymore, and I won't.
Let's sit down. Let's not talk about it. I'm away tomorrow.
Yesterday I took away a false beard and moustache from a boy in the third form. I've got them here. Do I look like our German master? I do, don't I? Oh, the boys are funny.
It's true. You do look like that German of yours.
Yes, it does. That's enough, Martha.
What? Yes, Mr. Protopopov is taking care of Sophotchka, and the master's taking Bobik out in the tram.
All the work these children make. Oh, Irina, my dear. Are you really leaving us tomorrow? Oh, what a pity. Oh, do stay, won't you? Just for another week. Get away with you, how you scare me. You mustn't think it's going to be at all easy for me to manage without you. I'll get Andre and his old violin to move into your room. He can saw away at it as much as he likes in there. And then we'll move Sophotchka into his room. Oh, she's such a wonderful child, really. This morning she looked at me with such a sweet expression, and suddenly she said, Mama.
It's quite true. She's a beautiful child.
So, tomorrow I shall be all alone here.
Well, first of all, I shall have that avenue of fir trees cut down, and then that maple over there. Oh, it does look awful in the evenings. Oh, my dear, that belt you're wearing, it doesn't suit you at all. Not at all good taste. You want something brighter to go with that dress. I'll tell them to put flowers all round here so we can get plenty of scent from them. Why is there a fork left lying on that seat? Why is there a fork left lying on that seat there? Don't you answer me back!
There she goes again.
They're going.
They're leaving us. Well, good luck to them. We must go home. Where's my hat and cape?
I took them indoors. I'll bring them at once.
Yes, we can go now. It's time.
Olga?
What is it? What?
Nothing. I don't quite know what to say. No. This is a dreadful business. I'm so tired. I'm quite worn out. I don't want to say another word. No, it doesn't matter.
What's up? What a dreadful day. My dear, I don't know how to tell you.
What is it? What's happened? Tell me quickly.
Baron has just been killed in a duel. I'm so tired. I can cry for a bit. What difference does it make?
Oh, listen to that band. They're leaving us. One of them's gone for good. Forever. They're leaving us alone. To start our lives all over again. We must go on living. We must go on living.
Someday people will know why such things happen. And what the purpose of all this suffering is. Then there won't be any more riddles. Till then we must go on living and working. Yes, we must go on working. Tomorrow I'll go away. Alone and teach in a school somewhere. I'll give my life to people who need it. It's autumn now. Winter will soon be here. The snow will cover everything. I'll go on working.
How cheerfully and jauntily that band is playing. Really, I feel as if I wanted to live. Merciful God, the years will pass, we shall all soon be gone for good and quite forgotten. Our faces and voices will be forgotten and people won't even know that there were once three of us here. But our sufferings may mean happiness for those who come after us. There'll be a time when peace and happiness reign in the world. Then we'll be remembered and blessed. No, my dear sisters, life isn't finished for us yet. We are going to live. That band is playing so cheerfully and bravely. Maybe if we wait a little longer, we shall find out why we live, why we suffer. Oh, if only we knew. If we only knew.
I'm sitting on a tomb. What does it matter? Nothing matters.
If we only knew. If we only knew.